Welcome back to Studio F, where on Fast Times with Willy B, we'll be reviewing the View Askewniverse franchise. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Russell?
Welcome back to Fast Times with Willy B. I'm Willy B. I got Zach back. Zach, how we doing?
Good to be here.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Long time. I mean, you came on within my first 10 episodes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I was an early appearance on here. We talked about Thanksgiving, the Eli Roth modern classic,
which is almost a year old, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we're back here to review the View Askewniverse franchise, Kevin Smith's baby that we love. Turning 30 years old today, you know? So 1994, Clerks came out, and 9 movies later, we're here.
Yeah, crazy.
We got to watch them again recently and enjoy them all again. So we'll start where it all started, and we'll start with Clerks, coming out in 1994, obviously directed by Kevin Smith. We got Brian O'Halloran, we got Jay and Silent Bob's first time on the big screen, with obviously Kevin Smith playing Silent Bob, Jason Mewes, a whole slew of characters. I'm missing the name on. Why can't I think of his name?
Randall?
Yeah.
Jeff Anderson.
Jeff Anderson. Yep. And for the first movie, that's basically it for the big names,
Yeah, nobody else really has more than 30 seconds of screen time besides those 4 guys.
But this is where it started. We get a black and white film, which was cool. Hearing the commentary later from Kevin Smith that it was almost a show that you're watching from the perspective of a hidden security camera, and
that was cool.
That convenience stores really don't have life, so it's it's black and white because there's no life to it. Nonetheless, it's just really it really is just a story following these 2 clerks in the day of the life.
Yeah, just a day.
One of them not supposed to be there.
Correct.
The other, obviously works at the next door video store.
Yeah,
and then
you
got
a little plaza going.
Yeah, you got Jay and Silent Bob doing their shenanigans out front, and it's just a fun movie. Honestly,
Clerks is one of the ones in the series that it's the story of it getting made almost eclipses
the story itself.
Movie itself.
Okay.
Yeah. For me anyway.
Yeah.
Because there was I saw this great, it was longer than the movie itself, making of documentary.
Yeah.
And it was just man, he really would have been dead in the water if that movie didn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is crazy to think about, because it's my whole life, the reason it eluded me is because, I hear it's literally about this convenience store clerk and his buddy, and I'm just it doesn't sound like anything that interests me. And I watched, I'm okay, I can see why this worked. And then as you get more and more into the universe, you get more, lore. You fall in love with these characters even more.
You definitely have to be a fan of dialogue. It's dialogue heavy.
Yeah. That's what, we'll talk about it later, but yeah, it is a lot of dialogue. You get, obviously, great comedy, a lot of fun laughs. You've got the 37 versus 12 in this one.
Yeah.
You've got, one of my favorite things about this franchise is every movie Silent Bob is in, you're going to get at least one line.
Yep.
And in this one, we get the girls will come, but not all of them bring you lasagna.
There's a million fine-looking women in this world, but not all of them will bring you lasagna at work. Most of them will just cheat on you.
Yep. And it's...
And then he just walks out.
It's just stuff like that. It's really is a cheesy line, but it just works with this film.
Because you have the context, he hasn't spoken. So
yeah.
And you don't expect it either. It's not they're not say something.
Yeah. Yeah. It almost, you don't want to say Silent Bob's your favorite character because it's Kevin Smith, but, watching this first movie, he was the character that I, fell in love with off the rip. I liked all of the characters in this film.
The first time I saw this when I was in high school, I was I'm Dante. That's me. I'm lost.
Okay.
But now Randall's cool as hell. So.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a good mix of characters. They all play off each other very well. You've got the stoner dumbass in Jay. You got the stoner less of a dumbass, but doesn't talk in Silent Bob.
The
you
brains
got
of the operation.
yeah, which still isn't a lot of brains,
No,
but
they have a half a brain between the two of them.
yeah. And then Dante's just that he's probably the most head on straight character you get.
He's everybody works with a Dante. He's like he constantly is bitching about how he's there and he could be doing something better, and it's like, all right, well, just do that then. And, but at the same time, you've probably also been in that spot. So
yeah, I think we all have. And then obviously you got Randall, who's the
coolest motherfucker on the planet,
the best friend. And then like you said, we get a mix of characters here and there. Obviously, two beautiful girls in love with Dante in this one. Just
that's a little. He looks cool, I guess, for the 90s, but
the story of these movies, Randall can't figure it out.
Well, his mouth gets him in trouble.
Yeah.
This movie actually, fun fact, this movie was rated NC-17 originally for dialogue only.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he had to cut down a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, there's not much more to say. It's a good watch, and it's a hell of a start to the universe we're about to dive into. What do you give this one out of 10?
Somewhere between a 9.5 and a 10, probably for me.
Okay. For me, I'm going to land on a solid 9.
Because this one also, the soundtrack is big for this one, too.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of this. It's all licensed tracks, pretty much, but they were all great songs.
The Clerks movies in general are all three pretty good soundtracks.
He's got good taste in music.
Yeah. So that will take us over to the second installment, which is a year later, and that is Mallrats, 1995. And obviously directed by Kevin Smith. We add some characters here, and a lot of them stick around for most of the movies. We get Ben Affleck, we get Jason Lee, Ethan Suplee.
A ginormous Ethan Suplee.
Yeah, who just can't seem to find that sailboat, man.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, we get all these. Shannon Doherty, rest in peace.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure on the poster, like the biggest person on the poster for some reason.
You're right, yeah, you might be right.
It's obviously, Brody and T.S. their movie, but they have a smaller play in the poster. But we add all these. We get Michael Rooker, which was cool to see as somebody that obviously loves Yondu. You know,
playing an absolutely. See, I know him as Henry, Portrait of the Serial Killer.
That's fair. Yeah.
Which is definitely worse than Yondu, but
yeah. But Michael Rooker, nonetheless, young.
Yeah.
Younger. But yeah, still
ruined. The first time I saw it, ruined chocolate covered pretzels for me for a while.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah.
They got him good though. But Mallrats for me is one I loved a lot. This was actually the first View Askewniverse movie I watched. I watched this before.
Technically, it's set a day before Clerks. If you
technically
look all into the lore. So.
Yeah, technically, I watched it in the right order.
Yes.
This was just one I threw on because I've had it on Blu-ray for a long time, and I didn't even know that the View Askewniverse was a thing. And so I was like, I'm going to check this movie out. I've heard good things.
Mallrats is the type of movie that's up your alley anyway. So.
Yeah. So I put it in, and I look up Mallrats after watching because I loved it so much. And then I learned, this is connected to the Clerks movies. Oh, this is like a whole 9-movie universe, and Kevin Smith did 8 of them. And so I was kind of locked in, and I knew you were a big Kevin Smith fan, so that was what started this whole conversation.
Yeah, I was like, sign me up if you want to talk about them.
I mean, this was back in April. So I was like, well, let's just take time to watch them because in October we get the 30th anniversary of Clerks, so we'll just line it up with that. And I mean, Mallrats, it's similar to all of these movies. It's very dialogue driven. This one has obviously a little more shenanigans behind it, taking place in the mall with Jay and Silent Bob trying to take down the game show and all of that going on. But
bigger budget, color's big. It just feels like a lot wackier of an experience than Clerks. Like a slapstick almost. For
sure. And other than Jay and Silent Bob and then them talking about Quick Stop, there is no other connections I can think of when you're connecting the universe. Or I might be mistaking. Obviously Dante and Randall aren't in this movie.
There's a connection between... They both reference...
The girl that died.
In the pool.
Yeah.
Dante dated her.
Okay.
And
yes,
and they and TS called her fat, so that's why she was swimming in the pool.
Yeah. That's what ended their trip to what they were going to Disney or Universal or something like that, weren't they?
Or Hawaii, maybe.
So they were going on some trip.
Yeah.
And that ended that because she needed to fill in for her dad. But yeah, I mean, this just
Stan Lee too.
Yeah, Stan Lee's in this one.
Late great Stan Lee's in this one.
This one, like you said, it's wacky and it's a fun time. I think the mall is a hell of a vibe. I love the color of this movie, like just the color grading. It just looks good. It's an easy watch. It's just
can't go wrong with a 2-floor mall.
Yeah, it's one you can immerse yourself in almost. And once again, it's hilarious. We got another great line from Silent Bob, and with Star Wars references this time. When he's about to jump wearing the Batman hat. He's saying that, I can't remember the exact quote, but he's basically saying, like, talking about the Jedi and what they would and wouldn't do, and it's just another one that catches you off guard, because he doesn't talk the whole movie. Yeah. This is where we get Snoochie Boochie for the first time, so you got to give that,
and it's very, I will admit, as much as I love this franchise, I could see why you would think that's a little cringy.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a great time. But I just feel like I need to be upfront about that. Yeah. Like, his movies aren't for everybody.
Oh, no, they're not. But, I mean, Jay's just a character that's not for everybody.
No, definitely not.
So...
No, that guy's basically just playing himself, too.
Yeah, that's awesome. But, yeah, man, Mallrats was a hell of a time. I remember when I first turned it on, I thought... I can't think of his first name, but his brother's Jason London. They're twins.
Jeremy.
Is it Jeremy? I know it starts with a J, but
I think it's Jeremy.
I thought it was him because I'm a big Dazed and Confused. I'm a big Dazed and Confused fan. I'm like, oh, I didn't know he was in this movie. And then I looked up. I'm like, oh, he has a twin brother.
Yeah, they look the same.
Exactly the same. So that was cool. And then obviously seeing Jason Lee for the first time, I was like, because I didn't know much about these movies. It's like, oh shit, Jason Lee's in these movies, and then obviously you see Ethan Suplee and Ben Affleck, and then it goes from there.
Yeah, it's like where Ben Affleck got his start was with Kevin Smith.
Yeah. But it was just a hell of a time. This is one that I really loved, and yeah. Anything you want to add on Mallrats?
I mean, like I said with Clerks, same thing. Great soundtrack.
Yeah,
licensed tracks. This one had your classic rom-com structure.
Yeah.
So it was real, like he said, real easy to watch.
Yeah. I love when they take over the game show. Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone's just like cool with it.
Yeah. Except for Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
He's pissed.
Yeah.
Doing Ben Affleck things.
Yeah.
But what do you give this one out of 10?
Mallrats, I would probably give it a 7.5.
Okay.
7.5.
10 out of 10 for me. This is up there with another movie, which we'll get into, but this is going to be high in my rankings.
It's a big one for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll continue along now, and we will hop over to one of the more serious one, probably the most serious one.
The most serious one.
Yeah, and we'll go to 1997's Chasing Amy.
Almost nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
A couple votes shy.
And, I mean, obviously we're working with the same crew, basically. We get the addition of Joey Lauren Adams. Is that her name?
Yes.
Yeah. And also on Dazed and Confused.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, we've got basically the same guys just playing different people. You got Ben Affleck jumping over to Holden McNeil. You got
Jason Lee grew a beard.
Yeah.
So he's a different guy now.
Yeah. Basically.
Banky, by the way, Banky, one of my favorite characters in the entire View Askewniverse.
No, Banky's great. But Chasing Amy, I remember you gave me like a disclaimer before I watched this one, saying like this one is like heavy subject matter, like it's not anything like Clerks and Mallrats.
No,
like
not at all.
It gets emotional, and it does. I mean, the scene in the rain where he's confessing his love to her. Oh my God! Like that
was some good acting on Ben Affleck's part.
Yeah. But this one's a wild ride. You got the Holden McNeil's falling head over heels. She ends up being
the classic romantic tale. A man falls in love with a lesbian woman.
Yeah, and but they end up becoming best friends, and he confesses and ends up being this relationship, but Banky has his problems because he's homophobic, and then you get the I don't even know what you want to call it, where Holden's like, what if we do a threesome?
The big
proposal.
It's almost like an
guess.
intervention style setup. Yeah, that's some good stuff right there.
Yeah, and then you got Banky who wasn't full in, but he says yes.
Yeah.
until obviously Alyssa shuts it down. But yeah, this one it's heavier, but it's still so good.
This one's very real. Like Mallrats was a rom-com that had a rom-com ending.
Yeah.
Chasing Amy is a rom-com that isn't really even a comedy, I would say. And sorry. And it has a very realistic plot and ending. Like people end up pretty miserable in this.
Yeah.
At times.
Yeah, things were going so smooth until finger cuffs.
Yeah.
Man.
Which
threw a wrench in it.
Yeah, this movie's kind of about how you gotta let your insecurities go if you want relationships to work.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's definitely a deeper cut. Just another great movie from Kevin Smith, just going to show how talented of a writer and director he is.
The guy never misses.
Yeah. Well, at least in this universe. I haven't seen all of his movies outside of this universe. I've heard him make fun of some of his other movies in this universe. But
the guy doesn't miss.
From what I've seen, I've liked everything he's done.
Yeah.
I mean, the only two I've seen outside the universe are Tusk and Zach Teffner Make Porno, and I enjoyed both those movies. So, as far as I know, he's a hit, man. Because he didn't direct the movie that we will probably both hit on a little bit in this universe.
Yes.
But nonetheless, Chasing Amy, man, you gave me that disclaimer, and you were right. Like, it was heavy, but still just, again, well-written, very, like you said, very real, very well acted. I think this is one of my favorite Affleck performances. And it really...
It's probably my favorite Jason Lee performance.
Yeah, I'd put it up there, too. And it also is a movie that's huge in progressing this universe, because, they're writing the comics... The comics are, Blunt Man and Chronic, and
that's how Jay and Silent Bob get incorporated into this one.
Yeah.
Which this movie was cool because they were in one scene.
Yeah.
And it ended up being pivotal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he named the...
Like, they just showed up.
He named the movie.
Yeah. Like, they just showed up randomly and they just helped him out.
Yeah. Yeah. Good dudes deep down. When you really think about it,
they're raunchy.
They're jack-offs, but they're good dudes.
They're raunchy, but they're incredibly innocent guys.
Yeah.
Like, they don't ever mean harm to anybody that they don't think deserves it.
We'll try to find a way, as we go on with each of these movies, to incorporate something that made them... Clerks was his line with the lasagna. Yeah. And then, in other Clerks movies, there's other things they do. But in this one, they come in and they name the movie, man. And his daughter. Yeah,
so the first three of them, I would probably say Jay and Silent Bob were very important to the plot.
Oh, for sure. What are we scoring Chasing Amy?
I'm giving Chasing Amy between a 9 and a 9.5.
Okay, for me, I'm going to go solid 8.5. But again, we're through 3 movies, and I think 8.5 is the lowest score I've given. I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So we'll continue. Onto what is probably the most controversial movie in this universe, and that is 1999 Dogma. Hard one to watch if you don't own.
Yeah, you have to own this on DVD or Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Or
borrow it.
Yeah, it's never on and probably will never be on any streaming.
I think I saw something that it might be coming to streaming soon. So.
Ooh.
Which is kind of crazy because if it caught so much slack from the beginning, I feel like it would catch even more slack now. So
this is one that could get some well-deserved love from like Arrow or something.
Yeah.
Arrow Video.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's never gotten a re-release either. The DVD and Blu-rays are super expensive.
But we got Matt Damon. He's Loki.
Yeah, young Matt Damon and Ben Affleck again.
In the 90s when it was cool to be Loki, apparently. Which is set in a later movie. But
which I don't think this is... I can't confirm this for sure, but I am pretty sure that they did Dogma because Kevin Smith took the script for Good Will Hunting to Miramax for them and was like, hey, this is a really good script.
Okay. So he
and
is the reason for my favorite movies.
The Weinstein brothers.
Yeah.
They were like, all right, we got to make this.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I think my favorite part about this movie was the cast. I mean, adding Matt Damon was great.
Loaded Chris
Alan
Rock.
Rickman was awesome.
Yeah.
Chris Rock was great. Salma Hayek. I know I'm missing somebody.
The main girl. What was her name?
I can't. Oh, Alanis Morissette's in it, by the way, as God.
Yeah. Alanis Morissette is God.
That's insane to me.
Could be fact.
Could be fact. I guess we'll never know. I've never seen God and Alanis Morissette in the same room.
Nope.
So I've never seen either of them in any room. So, but yeah, the cast is loaded. There's definitely, I can tell why. It catches the controversy.
Yeah, if you're religious, you're probably going to cut this off and
very quick.
Start tweeting at Kevin Smith or something.
I mean, Kevin Smith did the right thing. I think he handled it well with the disclaimer at the beginning. So if you can read that and still go in with an open mind and just have fun, like it obviously being a parody, like
yeah, it's an incredibly silly movie.
Yeah,
it just makes fun of Catholicism so hard.
But it's a fun story to follow along. You know, you got these two angels.
A road trip movie.
Yeah.
With Jay and Silent Bob.
Yes.
They're there the whole time.
They're the prophets.
This time, yeah.
Yeah. You know, we got Jay and Silent Bob as the prophets. We've got the last Scion trying to chase down two angels, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, as they try to re-enter heaven through this loophole in New Jersey. Yeah. And
because they were banished to Wisconsin.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a wild ride. It's funny. It's got some cool lore in it, you know, obviously. Yeah. It's definitely not Bible accurate, but like he kind of works in his own lore and just makes it more fun, obviously, with Chris Rock being I almost said Chris Bosh, but with Chris Rock being the 13th disciple, or
he's the one that the Bible is
left
he's
out.
Not he's the one that didn't get in the story,
or the 12, whatever he is. And you know, Salma Hayek's the muse, and Alan Rickman's this angel that's helping her. Alan Rickman's probably my favorite character in this movie.
Yeah, that was wild. He had no dick.
Yeah,
he pulled his pants down and there was no dick. I was like, that was wild.
Yeah,
Snape.
Yeah, changed Harry Potter for you when you watch this movie.
Oh yes.
But man, yeah, this was one that I had fun with. Probably as we're getting in through the four, probably my least favorite of the four so far. But I still had it just goes to show again, Kevin Smith knows what he's doing. And
this was probably
4 great starts. 4 great movies.
The least licensed music. I would say you got away from the licensed music in this one a little bit, but it was still good.
Yeah.
And this was definitely the most violent film in the entire View Askewniverse.
Yeah.
There was a decent amount of blood in this.
Yeah, especially with that end scene with Damon's wings being ripped off and him just dropping people from the sky. And I'll tell you what, the reason this one takes a little knock on the score for me is 2 things. I didn't love the poop monster until
that was like, all right, this was silly, but this is a little too silly.
Yeah. I will say I like the way it's killed or knocks out anything or any smell or whatever. Yeah. I thought that was clever. And then the ending for Loki. I wish. I don't love how he just gets stabbed and that's it. Like I wish we found out more, which we end up finding more. So I guess if I'm,
he became human. So.
Going back and, retrograding this, I guess it makes a little more sense. But I'm like, because Loki at the end of the day wasn't a bad guy.
No, he ends up being almost all right, and Ben Affleck is the one.
Yeah. So
Bartleby.
I need justice for Loki in this one. Not just because it's my dog's name, but because he didn't get what he deserved at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
But no, it's still a great time, and I loved it. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. So I look past the controversy. But what do you score this one?
I would give this a 9 flat.
For me, I'll go 8 flat. So still, we're looking pretty. Neither of us have given. Well, you gave.
If you guys haven't realized at this point, we liked all this stuff.
Well, we're a few movies away. We're a few movies away.
Well.
We're going to hop to the fifth movie. 2001, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
This was the originally planned conclusion for the Askewniverse.
Yeah.
Which is why it goes so balls to the wall.
Yeah. This one, I'm going to say it every time. This was a fun one. All of his movies are. This was definitely more like, you take the first four movies into account, and this was more of the comedy-driven one. This wasn't as much of... You didn't have as much drama or exposition as... I mean, you still get a decent story, Jay and Silent Bob trying to shut down this movie.
Because they're not going to get paid
for
it.
And then you got the diamond thieves along the way, and Jay ends up falling in love with one of them, and it's a fun ride. One of my favorite scenes in this movie is definitely the magic carpet ride with the Mystery Gang.
Yeah, that was it was so random.
Yeah, but I love it.
Yeah.
You got, they get the Mystery Gang baked.
Let's sell their kidneys on the black market.
Yeah. You got Velma and Daphne dancing with no shirt on, that's always a good time, right? Way to ruin your childhood there. But that was quite the scene. And
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is a reward for his fans. Who've seen all the other movies. You definitely need to see the other ones to fully enjoy this one.
I don't know if this would hit as hard if it's your first movie in the universe.
You wouldn't know what they're talking about half the time.
I wouldn't say you have to see all of them. Like, you definitely... I don't think you need to see Dogma. Well, maybe. I mean, they have a big role in Dogma, but like...
Well, not till the end.
Yeah. I would say definitely Clerks.
You need to see Clerks, and you definitely need to see Chasing Amy.
Yeah.
And Mallrats, I would say.
I mean, it definitely helps to watch all of them. I'm just saying, like, if you only have to watch... Like, if you can only watch one before this, I'd probably say Clerks.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it is. We get a lot of added cast to this one as well. We get Shannon Elizabeth. We get Ali Larter.
Random slew
Mark Hamill.
Yeah, random slew of cameos. Mark Hamill is the cock knocker.
Jason Biggs is Silent Bob.
And James Vanderbeek is
Jay. Yeah, in the movie.
Carrie Fisher is the nun.
Yep. I always forget that.
George Carlin.
Yeah.
Way of the Road.
This is where you can tell that Kevin Smith started catching some traction because of the cameos,
Yeah, like people were like, all right, I'm going to be in this because it's fun.
Put me in, Put me in, coach.
The security guard is the guy from Napoleon Dynamite, the instructor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think I caught on to that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But now I'm picturing it. Like this one's buck wild.
Fast breakneck pace.
Yeah, it does move pretty fast.
They don't stay somewhere for more than 2 minutes in this movie.
Yeah, you got...
Did you say Will Ferrell?
No, Will Ferrell.
Yeah, he's got a decent sized role in this too. And it was like before he blew up.
Yeah, he another scene I like is when they're shitting on the one dude on the forum.
Oh yeah,
because they said like who would want to pay and see this movie, and then you get the fourth wall break. Yeah. That was fun. And then obviously the final showdown with Mark Hamill was a good time.
Yeah.
Where you got all three of Mark Hamill's like notorious characters mixed into one.
Yeah.
It's basically Luke, Joker, and
you fucked with the Jedi Master.
Yeah. What's the third character he's notorious for? Luke Skywalker, the Joker. I can't remember the third one, but it's three. It's supposed to be. I read like I was reading into some of it, and it's supposed to be a mixture of like all three of his characters he's notorious for.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So it was pretty cool. But yeah, Mark Hamill. Never know when that guy's gonna pop up.
Yeah.
But Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I mean, there's not a lot you can really say on it. It's just it's one of those movies that was definitely made to be better if you're under the influence of certain things, for sure. Under the influence of probably anything, it's a good time. So
yeah, probably.
But yeah, what do you give Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
I would probably give this one somewhere between a 7.5 and an 8.
I'm gonna go 7.5. Yeah.
I would also argue that based on the length that this movie is, this is probably the raunchiest one.
Yeah. I think any movie with Jay and Silent Bob at the beginning, you're getting a raunch fest for sure.
Yeah.
So now we're back to
They took a little break for a few years.
yeah, we got 5 years
because they thought they thought it was over.
Yeah, so 2006, we're back to Quick Stop for one scene, and then we're over to movies. But we got Clerks II.
Black and white for one scene as well.
Yeah, we're back. We're back with the Clerks. We got the whole crew back together. We add Rosario Dawson.
Yep.
To this one, which was interesting. I did not. I
First
mean, she's on the poster, but
the first time I saw Clerks II, I was like, she feels a little big for this movie.
Well, when I first watched Clerks II, I was like, I saw the poster and I was like, oh, I did not know she was in this universe at all. And then the role she has is kind of insane.
Yeah.
You add Elias, the character of Elias in this one, which him and Randall are hilarious together.
That Lord of the Rings Star Wars debate is top notch.
Yeah. Randall is buck wild in this film.
Yeah.
You got
he says some insanely racist shit.
Yeah, I was gonna
Wanda
say
Sykes' face.
Yeah, you got some racial stuff going on. Some hard R's are dropped, but not just him, but Elias as well.
Yeah. Elias's feel more innocent though.
Yeah, for sure. You've got just anytime him and Elias interact, I think I was laughing. You've got when he's talking about Elias with his first girlfriend and how she has the troll in between her legs and in her mouth. And
and it's got the sinister music playing in the background.
Yeah, it's isn't it The Shining? I'm pretty sure it's
The Shining music. Yeah, it is. That's right.
I'm pretty sure it's main title from The Shining, just bow.
And this guy's just talking about why he can't have sex with his girlfriend.
Oh, so good. This is one where you start to see even more of the pop culture throw-ins. Because obviously you have the whole Star Wars and Lord of the Rings debate. You've got The Shining throw-in. You've got Jay doing the Goodbye Horses.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bill scene. That is amazing.
That scene's awesome.
Yeah.
That might be my favorite scene in the movie, which I don't know what that says about me. But it was
says
just
you appreciate brave performances, brother.
That's fair.
That was incredibly brave of him to do.
Yes, and it was spot on too. Yeah. I felt like it was
and
pulled
Silent
from
Bob just in the background holding the boombox.
Yeah, playing Goodbye Horses while he's like, I'd fuck me. He just tucks it and he's opening the robe and doing the dance. I'm like,
yeah, they start playing he puts it on the boombox and Jay goes, ooh.
Yeah. Oh my god. What a Clerks II was genuinely surprised me with how good it was.
The Donkey Show also. Yeah,
I didn't look
insane.
I didn't look into this one I didn't look into a lot of these score wise. I wanted to go into them with a pretty open mind, but I feel like maybe I'm just thinking I heard this, but I feel like somebody told me Clerks II is definitely a step down from these movies, and I'm like, this is towards the top for me.
That's a hard disagree for me.
I loved Clerks II. I thought Rosario Dawson was a great addition to this film.
This ended up being this was pretty much a romantic comedy as well.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Dante, once again.
The dude is fending off chicks left and right. It's insane.
One wants to move to Florida and marry him, and the other's
Smith's real wife, by the way.
Yeah, and the other's just talking about how she had a good time on top of the prep station.
Yeah.
And then she's pregnant.
Yeah.
So,
whoops.
But I liked the decision that was made. Obviously, I don't advocate cheating, but I'm happy with how the movie ended.
This movie took what I said earlier about Mallrats with the happy rom-com ending and Chasing Amy with the real ending and kind of mixed them together, and it's like, all right, so something that's actually not good happened, but the right thing ended up happening.
Yeah, you want him with Rosario Dawson for sure. That donkey party scene was.
I can't believe they. I mean, I know that obviously the way they filmed it, nothing actually happened, but I can't believe they got away with that.
Oh, 100%.
I can't believe that.
And then you've got Elias wanking it in the corner.
Yeah, that was crazy too.
You got. I don't know what I'm watching, but I can't look away.
Yeah,
it's just
Silent Bob was like this.
Yeah. What a going away present. That's kind of fucked up. If my best friend was throwing me a throwing away party and that was my present, I'd be like, what the hell, dude?
Kinky Kelly and the Sexy Stud.
What is going through your head?
Yeah.
You thought this would be a good idea. But, man, yeah.
This
Clerks II.
takes a pretty serious turn, too, towards the end when they're in the jail.
Yeah, you get the little...
Randall makes me tear up with his whole rant there.
Yeah, with the, how much Dante means to him, and then it leads to them buying Quick Stop, which I think is awesome, and
that was
putting it back together and stuff.
That was another. This also would have been a solid cap on the universe.
Yeah.
I would say, because it had the nice little fade into black and white at the end.
Yeah,
and they both kind of had that look, realizing like, oh, we might have just messed up.
Yeah, I love when the stud interjects in jail, and he's like, "You guys will be fine. You might get a fine or something."
Yeah,
I'm going away.
Yeah, he's like this. He's like they're so like.
You might get a charge for animal cruelty, but like,
yeah, he's like this. This place still frowns heavily upon interspecies erotica.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They're like, bestiality is like interspecies erotica.
Yeah, when he's introducing him, he's like in the genre of bestiality. But yeah, Clerks II was a pleasant surprise. I really liked this movie. What do you score Clerks II?
Probably a 10. I'll give Clerks II a 10.
Okay.
This is my favorite one.
For me, I'll go 9.5. I'll put it a splotch above the original.
Clerks 2, also, you get the little reward for seeing the other ones at the end, because the money that Jay and Silent Bob made from the Strike Back,
they
used to help them buy the Quick Stop.
Yeah, that's, keep the connections rolling. Yeah.
Their full circle thing. For our man Kevin.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Great movie.
That's also one of my favorite lines for Silent Bob in it, when they look, because now when they look at him and he's like, say something that'll help, and he goes, I got nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. 2013.
Okay, yeah.
We got Jay and Silent Bob's super groovy cartoon movie.
This was a weird one.
I like the rhyme. I'll give it that.
This was a weird one because Kevin Smith did not write or direct this.
No, he just produced it.
And you could argue that he might not have even been in it because Silent Bob is silent.
That's true. Well, he is, because you get the fourth wall breaks.
That's true.
And that's easily the best. That's easily the best part of the movie.
That is, because he's basically shitting on the whole movie.
Yeah, the whole movie. I'm like,
it wasn't great.
Yeah, I was like, this is kind of dumb. I didn't love it. It was almost too much on the raunch. Yeah. And then you get those fourth wall breaks, and it's like, here's screenwriter Kevin Smith here, or here's this Kevin Smith. Like, it was always a different version of himself.
He's like, the real Kev does not actually do that.
Yeah. And he's like Jason Mewes got ahead of himself there. And when he's, I like the fourth wall breaks.
But like all his other movies, if you recognize the voices, it's a ton of cameos from his friends and stuff.
Yeah, we get Tara Strong.
Yeah, she's in everything.
Timmy Turner, man.
She is in everything.
Yeah.
Jimmy Neutron, too.
Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy.
She's a lot of characters, actually. I mean, he said it. Tara Strong, who's literally in everything.
Yeah,
if it's animated, she might be in it.
Yeah, that's right. He did say that.
But yeah, it was...
It was like, this would have been funny if it were 15 minutes.
Yeah. An hour and 4 minutes is way too long for this.
Because the entire story could have been told in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They stretched this out, and it was like raunchy to the point of like, it was like I was sitting in the room alone, and I was like getting uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Yeah, there's like a cock joke like literally every 2.5 minutes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know if have you ever seen the movie SwearNet? They swear so much in that movie. Yeah. It's like not even cool.
Okay. Yeah, this one, it just didn't do much for me.
Jay really takes the lead here hard, and I like him a lot, but he's really he has to say cock literally every sentence.
Yeah. No good. And then you get
like that lesbian, they were like spying on those lesbians having sex, and it was like 5 minutes.
Yeah. You do get Jay gets pegged.
Yeah, and I was like, and it was a cartoon, so it could be extremely graphic.
Yeah.
But like that was the end, wasn't it? Like,
his last lines were, like, "I think I cummed."
Yeah,
those were the last lines.
Yeah, like it was just.
Yeah, there's not much more I can really say on this. It just didn't do much for me.
Yeah, I was like halfway through it, and I was like, I better finish this.
Yeah.
Because I suck.
This was one, with the other 8 movies, watching them obviously for this video, they never felt like I was doing them for the video. I was like, man, I'm loving these. Like, I'm doing this because I want to now. This one was like, oh, God, just get through this hour.
This was a chore. Yeah, this was only like an hour and 4 minutes, but it felt like it was longer than... Dogma was like almost 2 hours, I think.
It's over 2 hours.
Okay, yeah, it's over 2 hours, and This movie felt longer than that.
100%. Yeah. I think most of them fall in that hour 40 range. But yeah, this was an hour and 4, and I agree. That not paced very well. Just not interesting enough, I think.
No.
But what do you give this one?
I would probably give this like a 5 or a 5.5, just because the animation was interesting, and
that's fair.
I'm a big fan of the characters, so like I mean it was fine to like have on and not pay attention.
Yeah, I think you're right. If you cut this in half, it's a much better movie. I'm gonna go 4.5.
4.5.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Put it in the bad range. I don't think it's.
I'm gonna lock mine in at 5. I think.
Okay.
I'm gonna lock it in at
right
5,
down the middle.
Which I will say 5 is bad in my eyes.
Okay. So I mean, yeah, 5's not good. We'll go to 2019 with Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
A true return to the universe.
Yes, this one was. If you finish off that cartoon movie, you're like, man, you should have just left it alone at Clerks II. You get this one, you're like, okay, we're back, baby. Yeah. We're back.
Yeah.
You get a lot of cameos again.
Same. This was like, they make a lot of jokes about the difference between reboots and remakes in this, and this was like with a couple of added elements, was virtually the same thing as Strike Back.
Yeah. Yeah, we get it really is when you think about it.
This was like I don't want to be one of those guys, but this was like this was like a meta movie.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, because they're in legal trouble at the beginning because they can no longer be Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, because the studio that made Power Rangers is making a Blunt Man and Chronic movie, and so they accidentally sign away the names Jay and Silent Bob to the studio.
Yeah, and so now they're going back out to Hollywood. They end up meeting his daughter along the way. Jay has a daughter, Millennium Falcon, call her Millie, played by Kevin Smith's daughter.
Who he had with the lovely Shannon Elizabeth from the first film.
Yeah. And who is now with Rosario Dawson. Yeah. Not the same Rosario Dawson.
A lovely lesbian couple. Yeah. Rosario Dawson not playing the same character.
No,
you're right.
No. But it's just, and then it's the same thing with like the Diamond Thieves. Like they end up getting left behind, they find them, save the day, and then they carry on to Hollywood. Yeah, no, this was like this. If you watch Strike Back and Reboot back to back, you would probably check out during Reboot. Yeah, not hate, but yeah, you definitely wouldn't probably enjoy it. And much. Also, I have to say, I know he had some personal issues and he got over that stuff, so that's great. But did it look like Jay had like false teeth in this movie? He might have. It looked like he had like new teeth. Yeah, I know this was like. I was like looking at him and I was like, he looks very different. I know this was like insane in the sense that like it was coming off of Jay having his struggles and Silent Bob having a heart attack. Yeah, yeah. That's true. Interesting stuff there, but it's funny. The cameos are good. We get Jason Lee back, and he has his fun. He's like, they're making a second movie. Who would pay to see that? You get the fourth wall break. Yeah. You got Holden McNeil. Jason Lee's playing his Mallrats character, not his Chasing Amy character. Brody. Yes, yeah. Brody Bruce. Yep. And but you got Ben Affleck playing his Chasing Amy character, Holden McNeil. Yes. And he has some fun lines. Kind of taking a stab he references like 4 of his movies in like a minute, and then he looks at the kid and he's like, "You just want me to shut up, don't you?" Yeah. He references One Day You Wake Up and You're No Longer Bruce Wayne. The Just Us League. They're Gone Girl. That was my favorite one. He's like, "They're Gone Girl." Yeah, I was like, "Damn, that was good." Naming the kid Amy was cool, and because he got to say, "And now I'm just chasing Amy." Yeah. That was a full circle moment. It was kind of cool to see like that they're still friends and like co-parenting. Like that was cool to me. Like all of that stuff I really liked. And I do like whenever there's a Holden, right? From Chasing Amy. Yeah. Holden McNeil, yeah. Whenever there's a Holden cameo, he's always just so happy and they like hug each other and they're always like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" Yeah. Yeah. Like they'll like stop what they're doing. They gave him the advice, So maybe he always holds out. Those guys have a place in his heart, Yeah. But seeing the con was cool. Yeah, I love the con. That's a real thing, right? Is it? I'm guessing. I feel like they filmed I feel like they just went to a real con and filmed. Because the inflatable Funko Pop balloons in the front were a cool touch. I also liked when Iron Bob shows up. Yes. That was great. He's like, Disney's gonna sue or something. Oh, I did a thing. No, you're good. Okay. But and then
He's like, I can't wait till they make that guy a Funko Pop.
yeah. That was fun. The ending's fun, with you got Silent Bob and real Kevin Smith.
Yeah, that was crazy. Kevin Smith was playing he talks a lot. This is definitely the most he talks in a View Askewniverse movie.
Yeah.
But it's not Silent Bob.
It's Kevin Smith. The only thing that
and he's playing. I will also say he's definitely playing an over exaggerated. He's definitely playing like a douchebag version of himself.
Yeah. The only thing I would say that I didn't love with this movie is the Russian takeover. It kind of like loses me.
At the end?
Yeah, I'm like...
I had a feeling that she was going to turn on them just because they were so confident.
Yeah. I was just like, okay, here we go, Rocky IV. But still had a fun time with this one. Definitely
this one's
huge step above the cartoon movie.
This one, it's funny to see the Strike Back, all the references cater to late 90s.
Yeah.
And then this one, all the references cater to like 2015.
Yeah.
And on.
Yeah. But nonetheless, still another fun Jay and Silent Bob adventure. What do you score?
A lot of secret product placement too for their weed products.
Yeah. What do you score this one?
I would probably give this a 7.5, I think.
Okay.
7.5 or maybe just 7.5.
I'm gonna go a flat 7 on it.
Okay.
So I still enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah. Not quite as fast of a pace.
Yeah.
As the first.
No, it definitely slows down a bit. Yeah. I like our new characters though. But that takes us to the last film in the View Askewniverse, 2022's Clerks III, and we've got the band back together from the second movie as far as cast goes.
They've rebuilt the quick stop from the first one.
Yep.
Or from the second one.
Immediately you find out Rosario Dawson's character's dead.
Yeah.
That's kind of
gut-wrenching. And it's
like,
in the set, the obituary, it's like she died the year of Clerks II.
Yeah.
So like as soon as...
I had to pause to see if I saw that right, because I saw her name was Hicks. So I was like, okay, she's married. So they had a little bit of time together. Then I was like, wait, that's 2006? Because that's when Clerks II was.
They probably didn't even get to have the kid.
No, they didn't, because they talk about how they lost, what was her name? Grace, I think?
Yeah.
Because when he has a dream at the cemetery, and she's like, sorry you never got to meet Grace or something like that. Yeah.
This was a very heavy... This was a very heavy movie.
Yeah. I mean, literally heartbreaking. At the beginning, it's literally Randall having a heart attack.
This movie, it's very based on Kevin Smith's real life heart attack.
Yeah.
And then he has...
Because it's the Widowmaker. And
he has to face his own mortality. And then, so in this movie, Randall has the heart attack, the same heart attack. And then he decides, I'm going to make a movie about my life.
Yeah.
And he basically makes the original Clerks film.
Yeah, which was cool.
Yeah,
I liked
that
it a lot.
was so fucking cool, dude, how they did that. And he, it was literally, they were obviously older versions of themselves, but it was all the same exact actors, and they were, placed in the same exact spots, doing the same stuff. It was the coolest thing.
Yeah, it was, making a movie instead of a movie.
Yeah, it was crazy. Ain't been done this well since Tropic Thunder.
There you go. Probably true. But yeah, it starts off quick, she's dead and the heart attack.
Yeah, the opening song is still playing when you find that out.
Yeah,
and it's
Black Parade.
Yeah, great song. Gets the emotions going.
This might be my favorite soundtrack.
Gets the emotions going immediately.
Because My Own Worst Enemy follows that.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy soundtrack.
That's the song on the...
Backtrack to Clerks II. Shout out to 1979 by Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, great song.
But yeah, Clerks III has a hell of a soundtrack.
My Own Worst Enemy, I don't know if you watched this on DVD.
I streamed it.
Oh, okay. This is the DVD menu. That song plays.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I was like, damn, he probably had to pay a decent amount for that.
Yeah. But yeah, it is a heavy story because, along with these montages of them making the movie, and it's awesome. One of my favorite scenes is when Silent Bob becomes the director and he's telling his whole reasoning.
Yeah, he goes on that rant and he's like, I'm shooting it this way or I'm not shooting this fucking thing.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And they're like, okay.
Yeah, that was awesome. The whole time you got them rolling that huge ass joint.
Yeah. Takes them like 3/4 of the movie to fill it.
And then, it's heavy in the sense that Dante keeps having these visions where he, visits his dead wife. And
this was a rough film for Dante because he has to call his ex from Clerks II.
Yeah.
To get the money for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time he's plagued by
reliving the life he's been heartbroken over.
Call it hallucination or vision of his dead wife.
While reliving all of these heartbreaking moments. I mean, that scene...
While Randall's inadvertently forcing him to relive all of his worst moments from Clerks and Clerks II.
Like, when they go back to movies and that happens, like, I was like, man, that hurts.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, the scene with Vicky... It is
Veronica.
37 or Veronica. That's it. Yeah, the 37 blowjobs girl. When she comes back and she's like, unlike you two, I have a family, and I was like, oof.
Yeah.
Because Randall goes, ugh, and then you just see that heartbreak in Dante's face. Great acting in all of these movies.
That scene got a little corny cheesy at
the
end.
Yeah, because then he ends up smashing her in the van.
just like a slapstick sex scene.
Yeah. He was going at it. That van was shaking.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, this is a sad one. And obviously the ending is absolutely gut-wrenching. You have, after the movie scene, you have Dante come back and he's drunk for the next shoot.
Randall and Dante have their classic end of Clerks movie argument.
Yeah.
Where one of them makes an incredibly good point.
Well, yeah. I mean, Randall's calling him selfish in the back, and then they go to shoot the scene, and that's when just Dante lets loose, and then Dante has a heart attack.
Yeah.
And then I love the transition to the hospital because we get Randall's like, all right, I'm gonna go finish this movie.
Yeah,
he still can't get it through his head, and that's when I loved Elias's character.
Yeah, he was that was Elias's best moment for me as well because. He was probably the only thing he was in this movie a little too much for me, but that scene was like
where he called his ex-wife to get you $30,000 and put his half of the store up for stake, and that's when he realized.
And Randall's like, he would want me to finish this movie then, and Elias is like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, and then he goes and finishes it and brings it to the hospital and shows it to him, and when he watches it, it's the original.
Yeah, Dante's watching the original Clerks film with this sad-ass song playing in the back, and he's laying in the hospital bed, and Randall is sitting there with the computer, but then now Dante's watching it in a movie theater with just Rosario Dawson's character.
Yeah.
And he gets up, and she's like, don't you want to see the end? And he's like...
I trust the director.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he says not only is he great at making movies, but he's my best friend.
Yeah.
And
I didn't realize what was happening until he said that, and he said was, and I was like, oh no way, this is I was like, this is a metaphorical movie theater.
Dude, I knew, and I was like, there's no fucking way they're doing this to me right now. I'm like crying.
Yeah, I cried in Clerks 2 for sure.
Yeah.
A lot. Not a lot, but the most of any of them up to this one. But then this one made me cry the most.
This one was heartbreaking. And then obviously you get the back to reality, and Randall's shaking him. Where are you going? And then the funeral is really sad too, because that's where you get... This is when the waterworks were flowing for me. When he goes, I don't want to quote a movie. I'm going to quote The Departed. And then he goes... Not the Scorsese movie that was pretty perfect
until
the rat scene.
Until that terrible shot of the rat at the end.
But
and then the guys in the audience just go.
Yeah, but then he goes, "You're not supposed to be here today."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh my god, what a writing! Great writing."
And these guys have never been pros, like professional actors.
Yeah,
so
they're just like in these movies.
So it's like when they cry, you can tell like they're really crying.
Yeah,
Like Brian O'Halloran is fucking bawling in some scenes in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a very well acted film, and this whole universe was, and that just goes to show, like, when you put passion behind something, man, that's what it is. It's just Kevin Smith and a bunch of people with passion. And obviously some of the actors have made a name for themselves after this movie, outside of these movies. Like Ben Affleck's had a pretty good career. Matt Damon's had a fantastic career. I mean, even Jason Lee. I mean,
Yeah.
he's in a sitcom that is highly regarded by a lot of people. And My Name Is Earl. He's Alvin the Chipmunks.
I was going to say he's the guy from Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah, so definitely like names were made for some of these people outside of these movies, but
Dude,
you can just tell
the end of this movie was so heavy too, man.
Yeah.
When he's like, "I wish you were here."
Yeah.
And he's
Shows up.
he's just there.
Yeah, I love the little clip where the what crypto ends up paying off and gets.
There was like a goofy amount of crypto talk in this, but it was cool at the end that they
How
were
it all
like,
paid off.
yeah, crypto. They were able to buy out his ex-wife.
Yeah. But I do like the pull out of the whole convenience store, and you see them standing next to each other, and it's Jay and Silent Bob running around with kites.
Yeah, it was like almost the same ending as Clerks II.
It was this. See, I agree. Like Clerks 2 would have been a good ending, but this was the perfect ending in my opinion. This was just like a hug and kiss goodbye. Like
they can't make anything else now. One of them died.
Yeah.
In the story, so
yeah.
If they made anything else, I would be like, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah. I know, like, we were talking about it before, Mallrats 2 is apparently a possibility, which I guess is probably
that could work because none of those characters, nothing really.
Yeah.
They haven't had any definite ends. Dante has an ending now.
Yeah. A beautiful ending. What do you score this one?
So I would probably give this a 9 or a 9. Give it a 9.
Okay. I'm going another 10. I've got 2 10s in this universe.
I want to give this a 9.5, but there was just too much Elias for me.
Okay. I don't think the Elias
and the crypto talk felt like it was 2022, and he was like, I have to write something that kids know about, and so he just threw some NFT stuff in there.
Fair.
And
I like the payoff with that. That's why I think
so that made it okay, I guess, the payoff. But
man, dude, that ending alone, and
I can't remember the movie. Emotion of this alone puts it up.
I can't remember the last time a movie made me cry like that. Like, there's movies that have made me cry like that, but like it's been a while.
Yeah,
Good Will Hunting is one of them. When you're
Kevin Smith, producer on that movie.
Yeah,
but this movie, because I loved the first one so much, I was just smiling nonstop during like the montages and the making it, because I was like, they did this so cool.
Yeah, what a movie. That does it for breaking down each of these movies. Let's go ahead and rank these.
Start worst to best, right?
Yeah, what do you rank in ninth?
9th out of 9.
Do we?
It's the cartoon, super groovy cartoon movie.
Yeah,
fuck that movie.
Okay, yeah. 8.
I will probably never watch that movie again.
Yeah, no, I won't either.
I will watch all these movies, all these other ones again.
Yeah, the top 8 I'd watch again. Yeah. So where do you go in the 8th spot?
8. So I brought this up to you earlier. 8's kind of like I like all of these movies, but you have to put one at the bottom.
Yeah.
And so I have to put Mallrats. I have to put Mallrats at the 8th spot.
Heartbreaking. For me, I'd probably go Jay and Silent Bob's Reboot.
Okay.
Again, I'm in the same boat. Like, I enjoyed this movie quite a bit.
Yeah.
But
besides the cartoon,
you gotta rank them. You know.
Besides the cartoon, it's kind of a situation where it's like we have to rank these.
Yeah.
The cartoon we were both very quickly like, yeah, that one was the worst.
So 7th.
7th, probably Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
This is where I'd put Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. It's tough for me putting the Jay and Silent Bob movies all 3 at the bottom because I do think they're fun. I just think the weight that the other 6 movies carry as far as like, not being as raunchy and stuff. It's they feel more of a story than these ones. So that's my 7th, but that'll take us to 6th.
Just Strike Back. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
This is where I put Dogma.
Okay.
So it's just it's tough ranking these movies. It really is.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So we got our top 5. Where are you going 5th?
5th, I will go with Dogma.
Okay.
Dogma is my 5.
For 5, for me, I'm going Chasing Amy.
Okay.
And this is where it starts to get really tough, the top 5, because I feel like all of these movies are just so close Dogma I liked a lot, but I could feel the peg below Chasing Amy that I had for it. These 5 right here, it's like, oh, where do I want to put them?
Yeah.
It's a scramble. What do you have in fourth?
Fourth, this is tough, man. My mind's going a million miles per hour now.
What you have?
Because I had it.
What do you have left?
I had it in my head.
You have the 3 Clerks movies and Chasing Amy left.
No, I know what I have left, but
Okay.
I'm just saying I knew before we started filming what I was going to say, but now that we've talked about it,
Things are changing. Yeah.
Things are changing in my head a little bit.
Yeah.
But, man, I mean, before today, I probably would have said this was 3, but I might have to put Chasing Amy at 4.
Okay. So you got all 3 Clerk movies in your top 3. That's not bad. I think all 3 Clerk movies are fantastic.
Yes, I'm going to say yes.
Okay. So fourth for me, I'm going to go the original Clerks.
Okay.
I mean, there's not much to say. It's at this point, it's like 1A, 1B.
The reason
1C,
all
1B.
these other ones exist.
Yeah. So let's go third place.
Third place, I will put Clerks 3.
Okay.
Just because.
The emotional weight.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's up there real high for the emotional weight, and it rounds out the story incredibly well.
I like it. Third, I'm going to go Clerks II, The Pleasant Surprise. Taking the top 3. Where are you going second?
Clerks 1, the original, is
Okay.
my number 2.
Okay. For me, this is where I put Mallrats.
I will, let me say real quick, I love black and white stuff, so.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I love the Universal
that's
Monsters.
a big appeal for me.
Yeah. It's a Wonderful Life. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. But yeah, this is where I put Mallrats. What a vibe, man. I love that movie.
Yeah.
The one that started it for me. So.
Yeah.
And what takes the top spot?
My top one in the View Askewniverse is Clerks 2, which in the DVD intro, Kevin Smith said that it was his favorite as well.
Okay. For me,
he might have been lying.
Clerks 3.
But I had already bought the DVD.
Yeah. Clerks 3. Yeah.
Pick.
Yep. It's that emotional weight, man. It
really comes out of nowhere. Like you're like, all right, he made this. So many years later, like, is it really going to be that good? And
yeah,
it is good.
It's really good. I weigh heavy the emotional factor in a movie. If a movie can make me cry, you're automatically a pretty good movie. Like a bad movie won't make you cry.
You know what I forgot to mention about Jay and Silent Bob Reboot though Jay does the Buffalo Bill thing again at the very beginning.
He does, yeah.
He just does it so fast too. Like they were definitely just like, all right, do this.
Yeah, do it again. Everybody liked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. What a universe! So glad I finally got around to watching them.
Yeah, it's great. I can't recommend his stuff that's outside of the universe enough either. He's delved into the horror a little bit.
I like Tusk.
Tusk was great. Tusk is
underrated.
Tusk is an underrated, overhated film.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Justin Long's the man.
Yeah. He's in a lot of these films as well.
Yeah, we didn't mention him. I kind of...
No, he's like a bit player in like 5 of these movies.
Yeah. He's also in the 4:30 movie, which is his newest movie.
Oh, he is? Cool.
Yeah. He's...
Also, the end of when Dante is... that hit me because that is the end credits song in Tusk.
Oh, yeah.
When he's like, I trust him.
Yeah. God. And it's all over now. That'll do it for the View Askewniverse. Zach, thank you, my man, for coming on.
Yes, appreciate it, man. I loved these movies.
Yeah,
Loved
dude.
Kevin Smith.
I'm glad you persuaded me to dive into them, because after Mallrats, that's when we started talking. You're like, dude, you got to check out.
Yeah, I was begging you to watch these before you were even like, let's make a video for it.
Yeah. So got around to it, and it was a hell of a time. So, but thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some of these other videos. Hit the subscribe button, follow the social link down below, and go check out these movies because they are well worth your time. We appreciate anything you do, and we will talk to you all soon. Peace.